Welcome to At Home with Music. One of the questions that I have encountered as I've been doing this channel is, can you learn piano from online sources, or is it better to have an in-person teacher? Learning online and having an in-person teacher, they both have their advantages, and there are things that you need to consider. Your choice depends on your personal preferences, your learning style, and your circumstances. Here are some factors to consider for each option: learning from online sources or having an in-person teacher. If you're learning online, you do have the advantage of flexibility. Online lessons provide flexibility in terms of when and where you can learn and practice. You can access the materials and have your practice session anytime you like. Another advantage of learning online is there are a variety of resources. There's a wealth of online resources, video tutorials, including the ones that you find here on my channel, interactive apps, written materials. You can try different teaching styles and approaches to find what suits you best. There's also the cost involved. Learning online can be more cost effective. Obviously, all my content here on the channel is free. There are other options available for those who join me on Patreon, but most of the time, it doesn't cost a lot to learn online. And also, you can go at your own pace. You can revisit lessons if you need to review stuff, and then spend more time on those musical concepts that might be challenging to you. But now here are some of the drawbacks of learning piano online. There is no personal feedback. Online learning may lack immediate feedback and correction from a teacher. And so this can make it challenging to identify and correct mistakes or develop proper techniques. You may develop some bad habits if you're learning on your own, and without an in-person teacher there to correct you, you may continue on with those bad habits and then have to unlearn them later on if you do work with an in-person teacher. And sometimes it can be a lot harder to unlearn a bad habit than it is to just avoid that habit in the first place by getting proper in-person instruction. Another drawback of trying to learn piano online from just online sources is the problem of motivation. You may find it harder to stay motivated without the accountability and encouragement provided by an in-person teacher. Sometimes we need that accountability to keep us going. Another drawback is there's limited interaction. Online learning can be very isolating. Limited opportunities for real-time interaction with an instructor or with your fellow students. Now, if you have an in-person teacher, if you're actually going and taking lessons from somebody, here are some of the positives involved. You get immediate feedback from your teacher. In-person lessons allow for immediate feedback, correction, helps you develop proper technique. There's a lot that goes into playing the piano as far as technique, and a teacher will help you address any mistakes you make right away. A teacher can also provide you with a well-structured curriculum that is tailored to your individual needs and goals and ensures that you have a systematic approach to learning the piano. It's not hit or miss. You're not going to miss anything. And as I mentioned earlier, you have that motivation. You have that accountability. Your teacher will, of course, encourage you to practice consistently. A teacher can guide you and inspire you through your musical journey. And of course, a teacher can give you personalized guidance. They can tailor their lessons, or tailor your lessons, I should say, to your specific learning style, and keep in mind your strengths and your weaknesses more effectively. But there are some drawbacks to having an in-person teacher. It can be very costly. In-person lessons can be more expensive than online resources when you take into consideration the cost of the lessons and commuting. If you have to travel to the teacher, very few teachers travel to their students nowadays. Coordinating schedules with a teacher can be challenging, especially if you have a very busy or unpredictable schedule. You may be faced with the problem of limited choice. Depending on where you live, finding a qualified piano teacher could be very challenging. and it could limit your options. Ultimately, and what I want to communicate to you is that the best approach depends on your preferences and your individual needs. Some of you may thrive with the flexibility and variety of online sources. My hope, of course, is that you will use the content and the resources that I've provided here. Others will benefit from personal guidance and the feedback of an in-person teacher. You may even choose a combination of both, which is something that I would strongly suggest. You supplement your in-person lessons with online resources, often with the guidance of your teacher, for additional practice, additional support. And you really ought to just experiment with different approaches and see what works best for you and what aligns with your learning style and your goals. I do want to mention that if you join Patreon, if you become a patron of At Home with Music, you will have personal access to me, and I can help you in real time assess your goals, figure out what you would like to learn, and help guide you along the way. So that's something that's available to those of you who choose to support the channel. You can learn piano on your own using online resources. You can certainly use much of the content that I've provided here to help you. And you can also achieve great results by going to a good in-person piano teacher. And in a future video, I'll talk about how to find a good teacher, because there's some of them out there. There's a lot of them out there. And a lot of them teach online, and that is something that I do as well. I can teach you online. I have a limited number of slots available for those of you who want to study with me personally. I'll talk more about that in a future video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Once again, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comments section. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to do so. I've had a lot of folks subscribe in the past few months, and I'm very grateful. Be sure to like the video because that also helps the channel. Thanks again. Thank you for watching. I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.